Sixers fans, welcome back. Look, I have been wanting to make a video regarding the Sixers Summer League roster and why I think the Sixers' future is really bright. But I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't because Paul Reed just went off for a historic Summer League game. I mean, Paul Reed, dude, B-Ball Paul is the man. I really want to talk about why the Sixers have struck gold in the 2020 NBA draft. And I just want to give you my thoughts on the young guys, the young little core that the Sixers seem to be putting together right now. Let's get into it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the family, join the community. I'm almost at 800, which means I'm almost at 1K, which means merch. Almost. Let's get there. Okay. I want to start off by saying that Paul Reed. I should start off with Paul Reed. I want to start off by saying the man is a glue guy. I think Paul Reed is going to be a guy that is going to give the Sixers some serious minutes this year. I think he should be putting up 10 to 15 minutes a night. And I believe he's good enough to be doing that. What I see Paul Reed's career trajectory looking like, he's not going to be an all-star. He's not going to be a guy who's going to be putting up all-star stats. He's not going to be a core top 5 dude on an NBA roster winning a championship. But Paul Reed, I think, is a guy who will be an energy player, who can be a 6th best dude on a seriously good team. And I think that's extremely good. I mean, you don't see a lot of guys like that. Paul Reed does a lot of the dirty work that most players don't want to do. Also, I just found out, like right now while I'm looking at my computer, that it's Paul Reed Jr. Who knew? Not I. But, I mean, in 4 games, he's putting up 28 minutes a night, which is, I mean, a pretty decent amount. It's probably around how much Danny Green put up on a nightly basis for the Sixers last year. So, I mean, it's at starters numbers. Obviously, Paul Reed's seeing big-time minutes in a Summer League game because he's arguably the best player on the team alongside Tyrese Maxie, of course. But Paul Reed's statistics right now in 4 games of 28 minutes a night are 18 points, 13 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 2.5 steals, and 2.5 blocks. This man does everything. He just put up a 27-20 night. One of 2 players in Summer League history to do so. He's one of 5 players ever to put up at least 20 rebounds in a game. Paul Reed, dude, is legit. And I think what's going to make him even more legit is his ability to consistently knock down a 3-point shot. If he can stretch the floor out in an NBA game, he's going to be extremely tough to handle. He's a little undersized to be playing the 4-5 position that he will and does play. But the thing with Paul Reed is he hustles and works harder than every single person on the court. I mean, the amount of offensive rebounds that Paul Reed corrals a night is insane. I mean, this man works extremely hard. He has a tireless work ethic, and for 48 minutes a night, the man's going to run up and down and do every little dirty thing that the other person doesn't want to do. And players like that are players who win championships. It's a Draymond Green type of player. I think Paul Reed, if he can even improve a little bit on playmaking, and that's just me being nitpicky because the guy does everything. Defensively, Paul Reed has looked phenomenal. He has been a much improved one-on-one defender, I think. He looks a little bit stronger than he did last year. And this summer has shown that Paul Reed is not a youngin' anymore. Paul Reed and Tyrese Maxie are not guys who look out of sort against these guys. These dudes look like NBA players playing with guys who are trying to be in the NBA. They're not looking like guys who are trying to find minutes. These dudes will find minutes. I'm grateful that we found Paul Reed in the 2nd round last year because it was a fantastic pick, which leads me to Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe hasn't been extremely efficient, but what I love about Isaiah Joe so much, so he's played 4 games, 27 minutes a night. He's putting up 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. What I love so much about Isaiah Joe is he seems like that guy that the Sixers need. And what I mean by that is he looks like that guy who is just going to put up a shit ton of 3-pointers. And without any care in the world, he will constantly shoot. And he is a hell of a shooter. He is an efficient player for the most part. I think he can shoot around high 30% from 3, 40% maybe this year as a Sixer. But that's given the amount of shots that Isaiah Joe puts up. I mean, he isn't afraid to shoot the ball. And when he's creating his own shot, he's creating a shot from deep, and the Sixers do not have guys like that. It's the problem with Ben Simmons is he's not a shot creator. Isaiah Joe plays a lot of combo guard for this summer team, and he looked really good. I mean, he has just looked good. He's looked confident. He has put up some extremely tough baskets. His playmaking has looked really, really well improved. I mean, he had a couple flashy passes for out of a pick and roll, leading to Paul Reed, leading to I think, who was it? Petrusev a couple of times. A couple dudes that he just looks really, really good playing alongside. I have loved the improvement of Isaiah Joe. He also looks a little bit stronger as well, which is, these are the things that I look at the most. I look at weight, I look at physicality, I look at things that should drastically change in players in the first couple of years, because look at Giannis, look at Jokic, a lot of these guys have just gotten in better shape, and that's what leads to their progression as players. I see a little bit of strength added in Isaiah Joe's game. He is a confident shooter. He has always had this limitless range type of mentality. I'm here for that. I love Isaiah Joe. Another guy who is just a steal in the second round last year, which I am incredibly grateful, and I'm happy that we grabbed him, because I was a fan of him at Arkansas, and coming over to the Sixers, he has immediately proved me right as to why he's a good fit alongside guys like Ben Simmons and guys like Tyrese Maxie, who I'm getting into right now. Tyrese Maxie is playing in a league where this man should not be playing in right now. I mean, dude, Tyrese looks unbelievably legit, like super, super legit. In 2 games, he's put up 30 minutes, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block, only on 2 turnovers, which is such a bright spot for this kid. Tyrese Maxie is, like, phenomenal. This dude should not be playing against this competition. Tyrese Maxie is just proving as to why he could arguably be a starter for the Sixers. I mean, Tyrese Maxie, how many times can I say how much I love this kid? But what I'm most nervous for regarding his progression is the fact that we signed Andre Drummond. Look, I like it. I think it's great value. I think signing a 27-year-old dude who has led the NBA in rebounding multiple times, who has shown he can be a very, very good player for a veteran minimum deal, that is high value. Championship teams win because they get guys on good value contracts. It's not because, they have a billion stars, though most of the time that is the case. But they have other guys who outperform their contract. That is business 101 in the NBA. And Tyrese Maxey is a guy who is going to be that. It's just, the thing is, he is a guy who is just awesome. And the problem, and with Andre Drummond is the same thing. Andre Drummond is a guy who you're getting a lot for the amount of money that you're paying him. But the only thing is he can't shoot. And I think what makes Tyrese Maxey so lethal in this summer league is, 1, he's playing against dudes who are not as good as him, which is always going to help. And 2, his big man's Paul Reed. Paul Reed's a guy who can step out to the 3-point line and shoot that shot. And so what they do, and the Sixers offense has done in this summer, is they've done a 5-out type of offense, which lets Tyrese Maxey go out and it's just barbecue chicken. I mean, that man drives down to the paint because he is faster than literally everyone in the league outside of De'Aaron Fox. And it's an easy layup every time. But my thing with Drummond is, I think Andre Drummond's going to clog the paint. It's going to be able to double team Maxey a little bit, and it's just, you're not going to see Tyrese Maxey thrive as much as I think as much as I think he would thrive with a stretch 5 instead. That's the only knock I have against him, and it's not even his fault. It's more against the Sixers. But Tyrese Maxey is a guy who has proven from the first minute of the first Summer League game, literally since last playoffs, that he is a guy who we can literally just trust. We can just put the keys to him and be like, go out and get your bucket, because he is. And my biggest thing with Tyrese Maxey when it comes to his progression is his shot. His shot looks better. He's been doing this James Harden-esque step back 3 like a lot. He had a clutch bucket. Was it against the Mavericks when they went to overtime and won? I think it was against the Mavericks. I could be wrong. And he's shown serious offensive progression. I think Tyrese Maxey is ready for a much bigger role. I think you could even see him as a 6th man for this Sixers team next year, which would be a 20-year-old kid coming into a contending finals NBA team as the Sixers and giving you 25 minutes a night, 20 to 25 minutes a night. You cannot be more grateful for something like that. Talk about maximizing value. Tyrese Maxey is the definition. The Sixers struck gold in the 2020 NBA draft. They landed 3 guys who can be all serious rotational players in their second NBA season on a contending team. That's incredible. And Tyrese Maxey, as much as I would love to see him in Philadelphia, I think he is the most pivotal piece in Damian Lillard trade. I think if Maxey comes out of the gate and is just absolutely legit as he has been for the past couple of months now, I think it's going to make a trade for Portland much easier because you're not as much relying on Ben Simmons to be a star, but you're also saying, okay, Tyrese Maxey has star ability. Okay, Paul Reed maybe has some big-time great playing ability. Isaiah Joe has this combo guard ability that can come off the bench and provide lightning scoring and just relentless shooting. I mean, Isaiah Joe does not care if he goes 0 for 15. He will shoot that 16th shot, which leads me to a nice transition, to Tyrese Maxey. He was 0 for 7 from 3 against Dallas. I still think it was Dallas. The game they went to overtime and they won. And Tyrese Maxey hit this ridiculous step-back 3, and I'm here for it. It's that killer mentality. It's that dog mentality, and I think it's what makes him so good. I think his work ethic is just on another level. I love Tyrese Maxey so much. I think Maxey's going to be a fantastic player. I think the Summer League has shown serious skills out of some dudes that the Sixers have struck gold on, I think. And then there's Jaden Springer, who I don't want to bring this video down a lot, but he hasn't looked great. But the kid's 18. Give him some time. I'm not going to jump on his case as quick as other people have because I understand he's a younger type of guy, but I don't love the fit. I don't love what he brings to the team. His shot does not look good. He's a pretty good finisher around the rim, I'm not going to lie, but I don't love him so far. And I think what makes it hurt them even more is the fact that I think this past NBA draft is really, really legit. Like, I think there are 20 dudes in this draft that could be legitimate NBA players very quickly. I think the Sixers could have went out and probably grabbed other people. I mean, hindsight 2020, Sharif Cooper looks legit, looks really, really, really good. I would have enjoyed that. I still think Jared Butler was a good pick. I think Miles McBride was a good pick. I think there are guys who the Sixers could have gotten instead of Jaden Springer that would have made a lot more sense because I just don't understand the fit. I don't understand the timeline, especially unless they're genuinely willing to trade him soon. So we'll see. But hey, Sixers fans, be happy. We have some young kids who are younger than me who know how to play the game of basketball at a very high level. Peace.